Emma Davis is a successful architect in her early 30s, living in New York City. She has everything she could ever want. A promising career, an upscale apartment, and a bustling social life, but her heart has been closed off since her last serious relationship ended 5 years ago. Emma had fallen in love once before with a man named Daniel, who had broken her heart when he left her for another woman. Since then, she's been emotionally distant, choosing to focus on her career and keep her heart guarded. On the other side of town, Nicholas Stone is a widower and novelist who hasn't written a word in over 2 years. Nicholas lost his wife, Anna, in a car accident, and ever since then, he's been living in a state of emotional paralysis. His once thriving writing career has dwindled to nothing, and he's barely holding on, burdened by guilt, grief, and the sense that he'll never find love again. The story takes a turn when Emma and Nicholas met one fateful afternoon in Central Park. It was a particularly windy day, and Emma is sitting on a park bench, sketching a building for her latest project. A gust of wind sweeps her papers across the park, and they're picked up by Nicholas, who had been passing by. Their eyes meet, and there's an instant spark between them, something that neither of them had felt in years. Nicholas, still unsure of how to engage with people since his wife's passing, awkwardly returns Emma's papers. Emma, too, feels an odd nervousness she hasn't felt in years. They begin chatting, and the conversation flows naturally, despite both being initially hesitant. They talk about work, the city, and the strange unpredictability of life. Before they part ways, Nicholas offers Emma a small, almost shy smile and walks away. As Nicholas walks away, Emma finds herself strangely drawn to him, and for the first time in years, she feels a flicker of something more than just casual interest. Nicholas, too, can't help but feel that meeting Emma was more than just a coincidence. Days pass, and both Emma and Nicholas think about their brief encounter in the park. On a whim, Nicholas decides to visit the same spot, hoping to see Emma again. He finds her sitting on the same bench, engrossed in her sketch pad. This time, he approaches her more confidently, and they end up spending hours talking. This time, their conversation turns more personal. Nicholas opens up slightly about his writing, and the fact that he hasn't been able to write since the death of his wife, though he doesn't go into detail about her passing. Emma, sensing his vulnerability, shares her own struggles with relationships, briefly mentioning how she's been unable to fully trust anyone since her last breakup. There's an unspoken understanding between them, a recognition of mutual hurt. By the end of their conversation, they agree to meet again. There's a tentative sense of excitement, but both are still wary of letting themselves get too attached. As the weeks go by, Emma and Nicholas continue to meet in the park. They begin spending more time together, and their connection deepens. Emma starts to let her guard down, allowing herself to feel something again after years of emotional detachment. Nicholas, too, begins to feel the weight of his grief lift, though he's still haunted by memories of his late wife. One evening, Nicholas takes Emma to a quiet, cozy restaurant tucked away from the bustling streets of New York. Over dinner, he tells her about Anna, how they had been childhood sweethearts and how losing her had destroyed him. Emma listens, her heart breaking for him, but she feels an unexpected pang of jealousy. As much as she cares for Nicholas, she realizes that part of him is still deeply connected to his past. After that night, Emma begins to question whether Nicholas will ever truly be able to love her, or if he's too tethered to his late wife. She wonders if she's just a temporary distraction for him, or if they have a real future together. Nicholas, on the other hand, starts to feel guilty for moving on. Even though Anna is no longer in his life, he struggles with the notion of loving two women, one who is gone and one who is very much present. Just as Emma is beginning to fall for Nicholas, something unexpected happens. Her ex-boyfriend, Daniel, re-enters her life. Out of the blue, Daniel contacts her, wanting to meet up and apologize for how things ended between them. He's recently gone through a tough breakup and has realized how much he regrets leaving Emma. When Emma meets Daniel, she's immediately flooded with old emotions. Despite the pain he caused her, part of her never fully let go of him. Daniel is charming, successful, and now seemingly sincere in his regret. He tells her that he made a huge mistake and wants to make amends. This throws Emma into a tailspin of confusion. She now has feelings for Nicholas, but Daniel represents the love she once thought she would never find again. Emma finds herself torn between two men, one who was her past and the other who could be her future. She grapples with whether her love for Nicholas is strong enough to overcome the pain of his past, or if she should give Daniel a second chance. In a moment of emotional vulnerability, she agrees to see Daniel again, not fully understanding how it will affect her relationship with Nicholas. As Emma continues to see both men, Nicholas senses that something is wrong. He confronts Emma, asking her if she still has feelings for Daniel. Emma, torn by guilt and confusion, admits that she's unsure of what she wants. Heartbroken, Nicholas pulls away from Emma. He feels that he's once again on the verge of losing someone he cares deeply about. His grief over Anna resurfaces, and he starts to distance himself emotionally, believing that maybe he's not meant to love again. After Nicholas pulls away, Emma begins to realize how much she truly cares for him. Seeing Daniel again had reopened old wounds, but she now knows that her future lies with Nicholas, not in the past with Daniel. However, by the time she comes to this realization, it may already be too late. Nicholas has retreated into his shell, and Emma fears that she's lost him for good. Emma decides to fight for her relationship with Nicholas. She goes to his apartment where she finds him sitting alone in the dark, nursing a glass of whiskey. He's emotionally shattered, torn between his grief for Anna and the fear of losing Emma. Emma tells Nicholas that she loves him, that she's willing to work through his pain and help him heal if he's willing to let her in. She admits her own flaws, the walls she's built around her heart, her fear of being hurt again, and her confusion about Daniel, but she promises to be there for him if he'll let her. Nicholas listens, and for the first time in years he feels hope. He realizes that Anna will always be a part of him, but that doesn't mean he can't move forward with Emma. He tells Emma that he loves her too, and together they agree to face the challenges ahead, knowing that love isn't about forgetting the past but building a future together. The final chapters of the story focus on Emma and Nicholas, rebuilding their relationship. They attend counseling together, work through their emotional baggage, and begin to create a life together. Nicholas finds the strength to start writing again, and Emma fully commits to their relationship, letting go of her past with Daniel. In the end, Nicholas proposes to Emma in the same park where they first met, under the same tree where their connection first blossomed. The wind blows softly through the trees as Emma says yes, and they both know that, despite the challenges they've faced, they are stronger together. Just as they begin planning their future, Emma finds out she's pregnant. The news is unexpected, but it brings a new layer of joy to their lives. As they prepare to welcome a child into the world, they reflect on how far they know this isn't the end. There's still more to explore in Emma and Nicholas's story as they navigate the challenges of love, life, and family. The discovery of Emma's pregnancy adds a whole new dimension to their relationship, and the emotional twists are far from over. Emma and Nicholas are overjoyed at the news of the pregnancy, but the reality of becoming parents brings its own set of challenges. Emma struggles to balance her demanding career as an architect with the physical and emotional demands of pregnancy. Nicholas, still healing from his past grief, worries about being a good father and fears that he'll never be able to protect his family the way he wants to. The early months of the pregnancy bring joy but also tension. Emma begins to feel the stress of juggling work and preparing for a baby, while Nicholas, still emotionally scarred from losing Anna, becomes overprotective and anxious about the safety of their child. Their relationship begins to show signs of strain as both of them face their personal insecurities. One night, after an intense argument about Emma overworking herself during the pregnancy, Nicholas admits that his fear of losing her and the baby is consuming him. He confesses that he's still haunted by the memory of Anna's death and is terrified of history repeating itself. Emma, understanding his vulnerability, reassures him that they'll face their fears together. They agree to seek support and balance their work and personal lives as they prepare for their new roles as parents. Just as Emma and Nicholas are finding stability again, Daniel reappears. This time not to rekindle his romance with Emma, but to offer an apology and closure. He admits that losing her was one of the biggest mistakes of his life and that he's working on bettering himself. He wishes her well with Nicholas and the baby. The day finally arrives and everything seems to happen so quickly. Emma goes into labor earlier than expected and Nicholas rushes her to the hospital. The doctors confirm that there are complications and they will need to perform an emergency C-section. As Emma is wheeled into the operating room, Nicholas is left standing outside. Filled with anxiety and fear, his mind races back to the night he lost Anna, and he feels as though he's on the brink of losing everything again. While waiting for news, Nicholas is a wreck. He begins pacing the halls of the hospital, overcome with a sense of helplessness. He keeps replaying the doctor's words in his mind, the complications, the risks, the uncertainty. In that moment, he realizes just how deeply he's come to love Emma, and how much the idea of having a family means to him. Nicholas finds a quiet corner and sits down, thinking back to the last 2 years of his life. He reflects on his journey of grief, love, and healing, realizing how much Emma has changed him and pulled him out of the darkness. With a deep breath, he makes a promise to himself. If Emma and the baby make it through, he'll never let his fears and past traumas control him again. He will be the father and partner they both deserve. After what seems like an eternity, a nurse comes to find Nicholas. She tells him that both Emma and the baby are okay, but the delivery was difficult. Nicholas feels a wave of relief and rushes to see them. When he enters the hospital room, he sees Emma lying in bed, exhausted but smiling, holding their newborn daughter in her arms. Overwhelmed with emotion, Nicholas walks over to Emma and their daughter, tears in his eyes. He kisses Emma's forehead and gazes at the tiny life they've brought into the world. The sense of love and gratitude he feels in that moment is indescribable, and he finally allows himself to let go of his lingering fears. Emma and Nicholas decide to name their daughter Grace, symbolizing the grace they've found in each other and in the journey they've been on. Grace represents the new chapter in their lives, a chapter of healing, growth, and a love that has weathered all storms. They got married and lived happily ever after.